Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am a licensed foot specialist with over a decade of experience, and I want to showcase what professional medical nail care looks like. If you are into foot health, you are in the right place, so let's get started. Okay, so here we have an elderly female patient who has trouble cutting her own toenails, and that's why she comes to see me. Most of her nails are actually non-pathological except for the bilateral first nails and the left second nail. The first nails are quite thick, as you can see, and that's typically due to either nail trauma or a fungal infection, but there can be other causes. Now, the left second nail, it has what I would call a pincer shape. So instead of being relatively flat, it has more of a C shape to it. And that can lead to the nail piercing the skin, causing bacteria to get in, an ingrown flare-up, infection, all that jazz. So when I'm working on the second toenail, you'll see that I have to dig it out a little bit just to make sure that we don't get it piercing the skin in the future. Now, when I get to the big toenails, you'll see that it kind of gives me a little bit of trouble. These ones, I was having some difficulty getting my nail nippers underneath the edge of the nail, and at some points you can actually see me having to come at it from different angles. I also had to use what's called a black file to scrape at some of the debris in the corners in order to create a channel so I could actually get my nippers under it and cut it. Now, when I'm clipping the nails, I'm not overly concerned about getting the edges straight or perfect because I will actually smooth everything out when I go over it with my drill. So if you're looking at these videos and you're like, that does not look like a straight nail, there are jagged edges, well, I would say, yeah, you're right, because I'll fix it later. Here I'm working on that pincer nail that I was talking about. So you can see it's got that kind of C shape. It's not as easy to clip as some of the other ones. You really have to kind of get in there, get the edges that are buried a little bit beneath the skin. But in this particular case, the nails had not pierced the skin, so we're just taking out these edges and everything looks nice and clean once it's out. Now, I don't advocate for doing this if you are a novice or if you do not have the correct tools to do this. This is something that very likely would require a professional to do this. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, you know, I can do this, it's easy, right? But it is quite an advanced technique to be able to do this without causing pain and without causing bleeding. So I am advising for you not to do this at home on either yourself or someone else unless you have the right qualifications, experience, or tools. Always defer to seeking proper medical advice. There's a little bit. So like I mentioned earlier, these bilateral first nails were pretty annoying to cut just because the shape of them didn't make it that easy to trim around the edges. But after I successfully at least was able to remove part of the edge, I then went in with my blacks file, that's what this tool is called, and then I was able to clear more of a channel between the skin and the nail. The nice thing is that even though this nail looks pretty thick right now, after we're done with it, not only clipping it, but thinning it out with the drill, it's actually going to look a lot better and it's going to feel a lot better. All right, here we go with fun nail number 2, and I say that sarcastically because this one was also giving me a little bit of trouble. You can see how I just can't get a good grip on the edge of the nail, so that's fun. Eventually I got it, so in the end, 1 point for me, 0 points for Mr. Thick Toenail. But yeah, you just got to keep working it until you find a space to be able to get under that nail. And you can see I will be coming at it from a variety of different angles, trying successfully to grab onto something. And again, you do have to be very careful when you're doing this because it's so easy to cause pain or bleeding. So make sure you have either the proper tools or obviously the expertise as well to be able to successfully do this. Alright guys, we have reached the end of our treatment. Thank you again for stopping by. And if you like this type of educational content, please let me know. Also, send in your foot health questions and I will answer them in a future video. Or just give me a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!